I did not listen to Mike Shildt in his entirety, but the Padres skipper joined Ben and Woods, I think as he does every other week. And I saw this mentioned on our Discord channel. If you're a subscriber to Section 1904, I hope that you have access to the Discord channel. It might not be for everybody, just in terms of another social media app that you spend time on. But I saw somebody mention this, so it piqued my curiosity, John, to go back and listen a little bit to what it was that Mike Shildt had to say. And it started, I don't want to, well, we'll let the clip play, and then we could talk about it afterwards. But I thought an interesting moment, courtesy of 97.3 The Fan, the Ben and Wood Show this morning.
But I tweeted it kind of a joke the other day. It obviously was bummed when Xander went down. And I said, oh, man, that's fine. You just put Jackson Merrill back at short, right? But, and then you get all the bats in the lineup, the guys that have some slug, guys in the lineup. And I thought to myself, it was kind of tongue-in-cheek, but how difficult would that be for you, your staff, the player? How difficult would it be to abruptly move that kid who's really good in center back to the position he grew up playing his entire life? I'm not saying you should or you would, but if you did, how tough would it be?
How fair would it be?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. How fair would it be?
It's how tough it would be. The one thing that, and again, listen, it's a philosophy, and it's one that served me well. Do you guys think defense is important?
Yes.
To win baseball games?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I do too, but very much so. And listen, I get the slug, and I get all of that. You pay attention to how games are won and lost, and a lot of times they're won by not throwing strikes and not playing clean defensively and making routine plays.
Yep.
And I understand, and I have to, I don't know, defend's too strong a word. I do what I think is best in my experiences.
Sure.
In this game for, literally 50 years now, growing up with it, et cetera. And that's my job. Look, and I'm not saying I don't have every answer of this game, but I can tell you this: how fair would it be to say, hey, Jackson, you haven't played shortstop in 2 years. You never played it above AAA. You're had a season of ups and downs. Let's fire you at shortstop.
Well, to be fair, didn't you guys do that to put him in center field, though? You know what I mean? We've seen it done before, and it's worked.
Yeah,
it's worked.
To be fair, yeah. Okay, well, I'm not going to argue with you. I'm just not.
I know. I get it.
I'm not here to argue with you. I come here to share my thoughts.
I get it, and I love it. And
you share your thoughts, and that's great, man. And what makes the world go round. Have you ever gone from? Anyway.
No, the fairness. Right. The fairness makes sense. It does. That makes total sense to me. And I'm just, again, not saying you should or you would, but how difficult would that be? Sounds like it would be quite a challenge for everybody involved. And then you find yourself moving guys in different positions where they maybe don't give
Jackson,
you the
Gold Glove caliber center fielder.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah. We had the conversation that the domino effect of moving one guy, your whole lineup and defensively, could be weakened by doing.
Yeah. Oh well. I don't know. He got a little
answer.
Unnecessarily flustered on what was clearly a hypothetical. I mean, God, this is just an opportunity for you to explain why it would be difficult in case anybody is actually thinking of this, and you totally just bottled it. I mean, I just got so oddly flustered for no reason whatsoever.
I feel like every day now I do this. Maybe I should start charging Mike Shildt for this. Mike Shildt, here's the answer you should have given to that question.
Right.
Look, Jackson is a great ball player, and if I asked him to do it, I'm sure he'd do it, and I'm sure he would do a great job. I really like what Iglesias gives us defensively at short, and that really helps our defense. That really helps our pitching, which could use a little bit of defense behind it right now. And we trust that Jackson is one of the best center fielders in baseball. We don't really want to mess with him. Boom. There you go. You've complimented a bunch of people, and you haven't gotten, testy with the literal flagship station of your team. Like, how does he keep falling into this trap that doesn't even exist? He's like, Mike Shildt is the guy who's walking down the street looking to pick a fight with somebody. Like, every person he sees, oh, hey, you think you can do your job better than me? Oh, come on. And he's like, he goes, I wouldn't want to move him because he hasn't played short in 2 years. And Woods is like, he never played center field. And you were like, here you go, starting center fielder. And he goes, I'm not going to argue with you.
What a great response, by the way, from Woodsy.
Just
that was a great chess move there.
It's a fantastic response from Woodsy, and he deserves all the credit for it. But like, I don't understand how. Do you think if he was offered $1 million to do so, Mike Shildt would say the words "I'm wrong"?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of what we were discussing late yesterday in yesterday's episode with Dylan. Like, I don't know what other conclusion to draw at this point, and I don't think you or I think he should be thinking Jackson Merrill at shortstop. But it is coming across now like this is purely about him feeling like he is giving in, right? Like there is some form of public humiliation associated with him taking Luis Arraez out of the 2-hole or doing things a little bit differently. Some of these ideas that have popped up, like it would be a form of public humiliation for him if he were to go back after he defended some of his decision-making, rather than just saying it's a fluid situation and it's my job as the manager to try to get this thing corrected. Obviously, it's a player's game. The player's got to perform better. But I have to do whatever it is that I can do in my capacity as the manager to try to turn this thing around right now because it's not going right. And everybody would be like, yeah, okay, kind. I don't think anybody would be like, yeah, you moron, why didn't you do this 3 months ago? No, of course you deal with a little bit of that because it's social media. But you have to be able to say, I'm not going to pay attention. I don't know what other conclusion to draw, John, other than there is this element that he feels like he would be somehow like castrated or like publicly humiliated if he went back on the things that he is so unnecessarily defensive about. And it just is not in a great position when you're looking at the final 3 weeks of the regular season. And like you are in a little bit of this tailspin and you do have to figure some things out. And it is your job as the manager to try to you're like the pilot right now and there's turbulence and you have to find a different altitude. You don't just like fly through it and be like, fuck it, I'm the pilot. Tell me. Like, yeah, you fight. You got to do something. Like, like it doesn't have to be overly dramatic. You don't have to light yourself on fire. But, like there has to be a little something here other than like that. Other than like even furthering the conversation, that you are like boxed in and under pressure and crumbling because you cannot help yourself in the most benign situation imaginable, which is going on the flagship radio station's morning show where they ask you a perfectly legitimate question and you completely just screwed up the answer.
You can't even non-answer it. Like the media training tells you in this situation to non-answer it. Here's another option for you, Mike Shildt. Here's a good non-answer for you. Woodsy goes, would you consider moving Jackson Merrill to shortstop for a little while, get some more slug in the lineup? Hey, Woodsy, it's a good question. That's one option. We got a lot of options. AJ Preller's giving me a lot of talent on this team, and I'm looking at all the different ways in which we can put it together. We're going to try some different things, and we're going to figure this thing out. And until we start winning ball games again, we're going to keep trying different things. Boom. Yeah. End of conversation.
Woodsy even said, like, I'm not saying you should, and I'm not saying that you would. But we're just kind of curious, like, what would it be? If you thought this was a good idea, what would the process be? And he could have said, well, from my 50 years in baseball, by the way, he's 57. I mean, what's he talking about? From my 50 years in baseball, I can tell you, like, let's look at Gavin Sheets, right? Like we did some things with Gavin Sheets where earlier this year we decided we were going to, and it takes a lot of this and you got to get the coach and you got to do, you could say it and not lead people down the path of thinking it's actually going to happen, right? Like you could say like, well, listen, for starters, this isn't going to happen. But if we ever just decided that we were going to move somebody around because, we were suffering some sort of injury crisis and, we feel like somebody would be capable to do something in the short term, this is what it would look like. And everybody would be like, okay, but instead, like he just can't help himself, man.
Darren,
I don't know what's going on in this person's universe that he has to be like this unnecessarily confrontational about the dumbest fucking thing ever.